So the governor of Texas has defied the lawless, unconstitutional SCOTUS order that demands Texas open its border and allow unlimited invasion of the enemy into the country. Governor Abbott has invoked the U.S. Constitution to declare that the rights of Texas supersede the federal government's powers. Democrats are calling for Biden to seize control of Texas National Guard, but Oklahoma, Virginia, Florida, and other states have declared they will stand with Texas.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
But you do have a numerical minority that we want to give clarity to, that you can't come into our systems and be disruptive and in their neighborhoods.
More than 80% of New Yorkers say that the recent migrant influx is a serious problem.
When migrants first came to sanctuary cities, Democrats rolled out the red carpet. They pitched them wedding tents, filled them with recliners, popcorn machines, Xboxes. Leaders of sanctuary cities campaigned on the issue and boasted about all the illegals they'd let in.
Protect our immigrants. During the COVID, our immigrants stayed. They provided a service for the city, and I believe we need to continue to make sure this is a sanctuary city.
But house guests can only stay for so long before getting on your nerves. The migrants are now causing trouble in the communities that were forced to take them in.
Dozens of migrants refusing to leave this hotel in Midtown Manhattan. This Venezuelan man saying he's tired and cold, questioning if this is the harsh reality of the American dream.
In New York City, where officials tell us resources are overwhelmed. Across public hospitals in New York City over the last year, nearly 30,000 visits by migrants and 300 new babies born to migrant moms. Staff here at Bellevue Hospital tell us they're eager to help, but the numbers are tough.
This has been the hardest work that I've ever done, but it's been the most impactful work that I've ever done.
And most of the visits to the taxpayer-funded legal clinic here are by migrants.
Our clinics are full, and there are waiting lists, and people are turning people away or referring them to other places.
Randy Redkin from New York's Legal Assistance Group says so many migrants are asking for legal help on asylum representation and health care access. Now, she says, American citizens who need legal assistance with issues like eviction and insurance have to wait up to 10 weeks.
If you ask me, do we need more resources for legal services? I would say absolutely yes.
Parents in Brooklyn outraged after the city decided to use their kids' school to house migrants who had to be evacuated from the Floyd Bennett field.
What happened last night at Madison High School is a perfect example of what not to do. These kids and their families were punished for the failure of Joe Biden to secure our border. It is unacceptable that our schools have to accept migrants and cancel school for students who are supposed to go to school and learn every single day. Look, I think this is on the mayor's administration. I think that they've opened up the door and really rolled out the red carpet for illegal immigration here when they said, we're welcoming all immigrants, and we do welcome immigrants, but you have to do that legally. And now that they've done this, they have to come up with a plan that doesn't affect our local students, our families, our residents, our constituents, New Yorkers. This is not sustainable. It's unacceptable. We're about to spend $12 billion on this crisis.
There is a border battle underway in my home state of Texas. So far, Governor Abbott is showing no signs of caving to the Biden administration's demands. Instead of giving control of their border back to the federal agent, Texas is installing even more razor wire to crack down on the migrant illegal invasion. Watch.
Texas has a right as a state to stop criminals from coming into our state, to make arrests of those criminals. And we have National Guard as well as Texas Department of Public Safety officers who are there to make those arrests and to deny illegal entry. And Joe Biden actually does have an option here. Joe Biden's option is to enforce the laws of the United States and stop this illegal entry.
It isn't just Greg Abbott. Now 25 Republican governors are siding with Governor Greg Abbott, signing a joint statement in support of Texas. South Dakota's Kristi Noem is one of them, and she's heading to the border today. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt is also backing Abbott, and he'll join us later in the show. Former Justice Department official in the Trump administration, Gene Hamilton, saying, quote, unless and until a federal judge comes in and says, you may not, state of Texas, put razor wire up along the border anymore, Texas should keep doing exactly what it needs to do And eventually, this turns into a game of will between the feds and the state of Texas. Now, unsurprisingly, California Governor Gavin Newsom is coming to Biden's defense.
I thought that was shameful, what was reported out, that he's just completely rolling over and capitulating. Don't even get me started with the weakness of the current Speaker of the House. I mean, they don't want a deal, period, full stop. They don't want a deal. They don't want to make this a quote-unquote campaign win for Joe Biden. It's just everything you need to know about the fraud that they're perpetuating on the issue of the border. They want to make this a political issue consistently.
And of course, when it comes to resources, border funding is still tied up. As Republicans and Democrats struggle to find a compromise on spending, we're going to continue to covering this throughout the morning. We'll let you know where we.
All right, guys, you know how I like to make videos. When a subject comes out that I think might be interesting, I like to wait a little bit. Get a whole lot of facts on the issue before I make a video on my opinion. I like to wait for several news outlets to report what they think, then I draw my own conclusion. But since that hadn't happened yet, I decided I'd give you my opinion on what I think is going on anyway. Because good luck finding anything about what I'm about to tell you. If you are completely clueless as to what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and talk about the Declaration of North America. As you can see, I pulled this from the White House's website, so you know I'm not repeating something I read in the news. If you were to search this particular subject, you'll find two things come up first. That's the White House's official statement and then the Wikipedia page for the North American Union. If you're unfamiliar with the North American Union, it has been a very popular conspiracy theory and the subject of many science fiction novels over the years. It is about the United States, Canada, and Mexico doing the same thing that Europe did to form the European Union. Notice too at the top there, it says governments from all three nations say there's no plans to create a North American Union. You know what the problem is? The thing I just showed you on the White House's website. You know, the fact that they did it in January. Basically saying that we, the United States that we know and love, would just be part of a greater union of Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. Oh, you want to know what happens next? Don't worry, I can tell you because I've read a lot of Orwell. If we're forming the North American Union the same way that the European Union was formed, we have to do some things. Like create a currency that all three nations will use. You know, kind of like Europe did with the euro. The only question is, how far are they going to plagiarize Orwell's work? Because if they want to plagiarize the whole thing, they could just call it the Amero. Yeah, that thought's been around for a long time. But how would we implement this new form of currency? I don't know, I think I read something about that. Oh yeah, centralized digital banking. You know, like the FedNow program everybody called me a wacko for questioning. And that's probably why Biden's been harping so much on gun control lately. Not kidding, like literally every day on Twitter. Probably because as they implement these changes, we will not be able to fight back against it. They keep putting the puzzle pieces out there. Now we've got the North American Union and the European Union. It's not that far of a stretch to think that us, the Allied forces, would become the Transcontinental Union. A stepping stone to something else nobody believes will happen because they put it in so many science fiction novels it's now just conspiracy theory. Yeah, I'm talking about the New World Order.
Our King Jesus didn't bring us this far to abandon us now. You were called, you were chosen. You were knit together in your mother's wombs, fearfully and wonderfully made. We are called to serve. King Jesus bless you all.